Coming up on NTC News, Governor Rauner is touring DeKalb today. We'll tell you where you can find him.
Former President Doug Baker will soon find out the fate of his severance package. We'll have that story.
And the staple in the DeKalb community is getting a facelift. NTC News starts now.
You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
Hello, I'm Carl Reeve. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Jesse Schlax. It's Thursday, November 30th. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner will be in DeKalb today. Governor Rauner is making a number of stops to talk about economic development and bolstering Illinois' economy. Rauner will start with a tour of the Bison Gear and Engineering Corporation. He will then tour the DeKalb Forge Company. The last stop of his visit is Ferranda's, where he will speak at DeKalb County's Economic Development Corporation's 30th anniversary dinner.
Former NIU President Doug Baker most likely will not be receiving the rest of his severance pay. DeKalb County Judge Bradley Waller ruled that NIU is in violation of the Illinois Open Meeting Act, and therefore, Baker is not eligible to get the money. Baker is still owed $30,000 from the $617,000 severance package. Baker resigned earlier this year after a watchdog agency ruled that he mismanaged the university funds. In June, Misty Haji Sheikh filed a lawsuit against NIU, and Katie Smith joins us now with more on that. Katie?
Thanks, guys. We're joined here by Misty Haji Sheikh. She's a graduate student at large and county board member. Thanks for being here. What does it mean as far as President Baker's stands regarding severance package? And will he receive the money or not?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. That's a good question, and I don't know the answer, but what I can tell you is Judge Waller will rule on December the 8th. What he gave me was a ruling that said that the severance package that they gave him was null and void. Does that mean that they have to pay back the money? I don't know. But to me, it would seem that that would be the case. So we'll find out that on December 8th.
So why did you decide to file the lawsuit?
Well, I was in the room when the Board of Trustees gave him the severance package. What they had done is they put on their agenda that it was going to be presidential employment review and accept, but that didn't tell anyone whether or not he was going to have his contract extended, or whether he was going to resign, or whether they were going to give him a severance package or anything. No one could figure out from those few words what it meant, and the judge agreed with that. After that particular meeting that I was at, I was approached and asked if I would file the lawsuit. And I said I would do it, and that I would do it because I didn't want to get any money from it. I wanted the Board of Trustees and all of NIU to follow the law. Being a lawmaker, I have to follow laws. I figure you do too. And the other thing is that the Board of Trustees had an option. They could have gone back and retaken the vote that gave him the severance in the first place, and this would never have gone to court. NIU pushed it into the court.
Could you explain what it means, like NIU Board of Trustees violating the Open Meeting Act?
The Open Meetings Act is something that our government does to make sure that all the governmental bodies follow certain rules and regulations so that the public can find out what they're doing, and it doesn't happen behind closed doors. In the Open Meetings Act, for example, if you were on the county board, or you're the mayor and the city council, or you're even NIU because it is a state university, so that makes it a governmental body, you have to post your agenda items 48 hours in advance. And then you have to record the meeting, and you have to post that on your website if you have one, and there's other things that they have to follow. In this case, and the judge agreed, that they did not post anything about the severance in the words presidential employment review and accept, and that no one could have understood what was going to come next. And that is why I believe he ruled the contract with Mr. Baker to be null and void.
Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Thank you for
Back
having
to
me.
you guys.
You will soon get the chance to give your thoughts on the City Council's proposed budget for fiscal year 2018. The City Council announced they will be holding a public hearing about the proposed budget at one of their upcoming Monday meetings. The proposal projects over $92 million in total revenue and more than $95 million in total expenditures. The new budget proposes an increase in police service because of a 17.2% increase in police calls over the last 5 years. They also plan to discuss the Annie Glidden revitalization plan and an increase in parking restrictions. DeKalb officials have made it their goal to increase its bond rating, but that may prove to be difficult. The recently released quarterly update of the DeKalb 2025 strategic plan shows the city is currently at an AA2 bond rating, which is 2 steps below the highest rating of a AAA. Bond ratings are issued by outside agencies that determine a city's ability to cover its expenses. The strategic plan was adopted in 2016 to guide DeKalb in its vision of becoming a more inclusive and vibrant community. The city has achieved several of the goals outlined in the plan, despite the uphill battle to improve its bond rating.
The Egyptian Theater has been an iconic part of DeKalb for over 80 years, and now it's in need of several renovations and repairs. NTC reporter Austin Hansen has more on why these updates are critical to this historic building.
DeKalb's Egyptian Theater has been hosting plays, musicals, political debates, and just about everything in between since 1929. Executive Director of the theater Alex Narad says that the economic impact on the community is too large to not keep up on renovations.
On the financial side of things, our current programming right now through multiple studies have shown that we have a direct economic impact of over $2 million a year. So that's the restaurants, the retail shops, hotels, gas stations.
With over 30,000 visitors per year, the Egyptian Theater is one of the more popular attractions in the area. Narad believes that all taxes invested into the theater pay off in the long run.
Pretty much every dollar, tax dollar and community dollar that gets invested here comes back to the community, tenfold.
Narad says the carpeting, air conditioning, and concession stands are all areas they look to improve on in the future. Event Services Director Brandon Pugh says that the theater is actually gaining popularity and only creates opportunity for our city.
Last fall we had 3 concerts. This fall we have 12. So there's been a serious increase of programming and patrons downtown DeKalb that create revenue for the city.
The DeKalb Egyptian Theater is one of only 7 left in the country. If that isn't unique enough, look up the story behind Dusty the Cat and why he is hidden throughout the venue. Narad says that even the other 6 theaters don't have a Dusty. For NTC News, I'm Austin Hansen.
Theater officials say donations and a higher tax rate are the only ways for the theater to fund the repairs it needs.
It's been unseasonably warm. I can't believe it's almost December.
Oh, I can't either. Let's hope it lasts. Caitlin joins us now with a quick look at the weather.
So guys, if you have any last minute Christmas or holiday decorations, this would be the weekend to get them up. There is a cold front coming through later on this week, but I'll touch more on that in a little bit later on in the show. But for now, back to you guys at the desk.
When NTC News returns.
Is a greater police presence taking the fun out of partying on Greek Road? We'll hear what you have to say.
Also ahead, a look at a new student exhibit that features protests, past and present. NTC News will be right back.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. Heard about the scarecrow who won an award? He was outstanding in his field.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education? What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts? Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget. That'd be cool. Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hey partygoers, keep in mind there may be more police and university officials around Greek Row. Parties thrown by student organizations are coming under greater scrutiny, and many are facing sanctions for non-compliance with the off-campus social events policy. There are now two different types of sanctions, one for parties that serve alcohol and one for alcohol-free gatherings. An assistant from student conduct must oversee any party that involves alcohol, and parties with more than 100 guests must have 2 student officials present. High-risk weekends, such as homecoming and tugs, require 2 officials as well. We went out to meet with students around campus for their reaction to the new off-campus social event sanctions.
No, I personally feel that if we're all adults, and I feel like we should all have our members, hold our members accountable for everyone in our house and our other members.
I understand that the area around Greek Row has become very dangerous this year, but I do not think that is because of the social aspect in that area.
2 suspects charged in a DeKalb shooting are on their way back here from Georgia. Police say Khalif McAllister and Sean Hayden allegedly fired 20 shots on Greenbrier Road in late October. Authorities say the 2 fled the state to avoid arrest, but were caught on Monday. 4 people have been charged and arrested in connection with that shooting. No one was hurt that night.
Tomorrow is the last day to complete Title IX sexual harassment awareness training. Training is mandatory for all students enrolled in classes this semester. Students who participated in Haven and Alcohol EDU do not need Title IX this semester. Training is available through Blackboard until 11:59 p.m.
Former Today Show host Matt Lauer released a statement this morning in response to allegations of sexual misconduct. NBC News fired Lauer yesterday after they received a complaint of sexual misconduct against him earlier this week. Lauer was apologetic, saying, "There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions." NBC has now received 3 complaints about Lauer, including one from a former employee who said he sexually assaulted her in his office in 2001.
Meanwhile, sexual assault allegations are also ramping up on Capitol Hill.
And we have an update on tax reform measures. Adam Carr has it all in this week's Political Pit Stop.
Thanks, guys. The Senate Budget Committee gave a green light to a tax overhaul plan on Tuesday. It comes a day after the Congressional Budget Office report said Americans in the greatest need stand to lose the most from the bill. It says the bill repealing Obamacare's individual mandate would leave 13 million more Americans without health insurance. That's for workers earning $30,000 or less a year. Meanwhile, the wealthy are slated to experience the greatest tax breaks over the next several years. 2 GOP senators are voicing opposition, citing the bill's unfair treatment toward small businesses. Republicans could bring the measure to a floor for the Senate vote this week. Senate candidate Roy Moore is not budging with his denial against sexual allegations levied by several women. The Republican from Alabama called these claims completely false and malicious at a campaign event on Monday. Moore compared the allegations to the probe into the 2016 meddling of the U.S. election. Scores of women have accused him of sexually assaulting them as teenagers while he was in his 30s. A number of Republicans are calling for Moore to step down, but he says this is just a case of dirty politics. The special election is less than 2 weeks away. President Donald Trump is facing sharp criticism after making a Pocahontas joke during a Native American veterans event at the White House. During the special event Monday, he referenced the long-standing nickname for Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, who says her heritage is part Native American. Trump then turned to a Navajo code talker and said he likes them, that they are, quote, special people. The National Congress of American Indians later called on Trump to refrain from using the name in such a way to denigrate her legacy. That's all for this week's Political Pit Stop. Back to you guys.
The students of the Visual Arts Department tackled an issue that is both historic and current in their latest exhibit. NTC's Adam Carr has more on the story.
The NIU art program opened the student-curated exhibit Rise, Symbols of Protest, in the Visual Arts Building on Monday. Helping open the exhibit was poet and journalist Lou Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum kicked off the exhibit by reciting some poetry from his most recent published work. The exhibit displayed the history of protest since the early 1900s. Included were shirts, hats, blankets, and a looping video of the recent NIU Teachers' March. Rosenbaum says the exhibit has him optimistic by students' willingness to not only learn from the past, but prepare for today.
What's exciting to me, more than just the exhibit, is the intellectual curiosity, the effort to grapple with the issues that were certainly present during some of those earlier protests, but also the attempt to grapple with what's new.
Protests about gender equality, race, religion, and immigration have been prominent in 2017. The exhibit aims to motivate anyone fighting for those and other modern issues by showcasing what those before them had to fight for.
So I want them to come in and not look at us as a bunch of liberal college students, but okay, what have people done in this country and what have they had to fight for and what have people been able to do?
Even throughout all the years of protests, Rosenbaum knows that his fight for justice is a battle that will never end.
The struggle will not be over. It will just transform itself from a struggle of classes to a struggle of how do we come into better and better harmony with the earth around us. And that, I think, is a struggle.
The opening ceremonies gave attendees a chance to reconcile something they regret saying or doing by writing that down on a cookie and eating their words. Literally. For NTC News, I'm Adam Carr.
The exhibit is open Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and closes on December 7th.
With one of the last sunny weekends of the season approaching, it will be a good time to get out and set up your holiday decorations.
Best to get out there and set them up before the snow starts to fly. Caitlin has more with what to expect this upcoming weekend.
This will be one of the last very nice weekends of the season. If you're going to be standing at that bus stop tomorrow morning, make sure you do have that hat, gloves, and jacket because it will be chilly, but the high for tomorrow, for Friday, will be right around 50 degrees. It will be mostly sunny, and the low will be right around 34 with light winds right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. However, clouds will be coming in as the night goes on. Moving into Saturday, it will continue to be partly cloudy with a high right around 51 degrees with those light winds again, which will make outside seem a little bit warmer, which is nice. The low for Saturday night will be right around 30, so it will get chilly again. Going into Sunday, clouds will kind of dissipate a little bit and will be mostly sunny again. The high will be right around 51 degrees with winds right around 10 to 15, so those winds will pick up a little bit with gusts up to 20 possible. The low for Sunday will be right around 44 degrees, and there is a chance for late night showers and chance of precipitation is 40%. Taking a look into the week ahead of us, you can see that cold front coming in between Monday and Tuesday, so this weekend is the perfect weekend to get those last minute lights and decorations up. Tuesday can get a little bit slippery, so be careful if you plan on driving and commuting to and from work. And that, well, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Tuesday will get a little bit slippery with the rain and snow mix coming in with a high of 39 and a low of 23. So be careful if you are commuting to and from work or school that day. That is the 7-day forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
The holiday season is here, and the DeKalb area is seeing a rise in doorstep package thefts. DeKalb police officers suggest you track your packages so you know when they will be dropped off. They also suggest you keep a porch light on for packages delivered after dark. At this time, suspects have not been identified and investigations are ongoing. The DeKalb Police Department is asking residents to report any suspicious activity or persons immediately.
When we come back,
NIU football played its final regular season game. We'll let you know how they did.
And we'll find out which student athlete goes above and beyond in this week's Leader of the Pack.
are we coming out in camera 2 or 3? 2.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
With football season coming to an end, many fans now wait to see what excitement the winter sports will bring.
Austin, what's going on in the world of sports?
Basketball is ramping up in the Convo, and the struggling Bears are continuing to disappoint. But let's start right here with some good old Husky football. The Husky football team's regular season ended after a disappointing loss on Black Friday. They fell to Central Michigan after leading 17-0 at halftime, bringing their overall record to 8-4. After a rotating door of starters at quarterback, Marcus Childers led the team with 1,440 yards and 15 touchdowns on the season. Jordan Huff led all running backs with 4 touchdowns on 740 yards rushing. And Sutton Smith was named MAC Defensive Player of the Year after leading the nation with 14 sacks, and 11 players were named to the All-MAC teams. The Huskies finished the season bowl eligible, and the bowl will be announced sometime this week. The women's basketball team took the court against Bradley and did not disappoint. Airtight defense and laser-sharp offense spurred a 16-0 run to begin the game, and Michaela Voigt led the way with 22 points, hitting half of her three-point attempts. Courtney Woods and Kelly Smith added 14 and 12 points of their own, and NIU defeated Bradley 76-52. Their next contest will be against Loyola at 11 a.m. on Wednesday in the Convo for Education Day. The men's team looked to copy their counterpart's success as they took on the University of Milwaukee. Eugene German topped the Huskies with 22 points and 6 rebounds, with Dante Thorpe adding 11 and Levi Bradley putting in 10 of his own. The Panthers, however, dominated the paint and out-rebounded the Huskies by 14, which led to Milwaukee dropping in 13 more second-chance points. The Panthers' Brett Prawl was the man for Milwaukee, tallying a double-double with 18 points and 10 boards. The Huskies fall 75-62 and are looking toward Chicago State this Saturday. In most cases, leadership comes from the veteran seniors who have been a part of their sports programs for 4 years. But an underclassman is making the leap for the men's basketball team this season. NTC sports reporter Mateo Avila has more in this week's Leader of the Pack.
NIU sophomore guard Eugene German is taking on a leadership role with the men's basketball team this season, despite still being an underclassman. Coming off a successful first year of college basketball, Eugene is looking to pass down what he learned to this year's 6 freshmen.
My definition of leadership for this team, just guiding the freshmen in the right direction. Just telling them like everything that we have to do, because I've been through it last year. So just leading them and just being the voice of the team, just being a very vocal guy.
Eugene is still developing his skills as a college basketball player, including his abilities as a point guard looking to run the team's offense. While it's still a work in progress, head coach Mark Montgomery is confident that Eugene's up for the task.
Gino always brings great energy. He brings a work ethic. He tries to communicate how he works to the other guys. He has to spearhead our defense. When you're the point guard, big quality you got to bring is, hey, I'm going to be tough on the defensive end, and he has to get our guys in position on the offensive end.
With a wide skill set on offense filled with explosive crossovers, mid-range floaters, and tough finishes at the basket, Eugene's scoring ability is unquestioned. But he's able to set personal goals aside for his team-first mentality that he views as more important, with hopes of making it to the big dance in March.
I try to keep that to myself, the personal goals, and yeah, I'm just focusing on trying to get a MAC championship right now.
Eugene's eagerness to jump into a new role so early in his collegiate career, as well as his team-first mentality, leave him as this week's Leader of the Pack. For NTC Sports, I'm Mateo Avila.
Husky 3, Eugene German. And now let's go take a look at the struggling Bears who, surprise, surprise, lost bad to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mitchell Trubisky had one of his worst games thus far in his rookie season, going 17 for 33 and tossing 2 interceptions. On a positive note, he was their leading rusher with a dominant 12 yards. Yeah, 12. Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz passed for 3 touchdowns and the 31-3 shellacking of the Bears, dropping them to 3-8 on the year. They'll be returning to Soldier Field to take on the 1-10 49ers in a game you could not pay me to watch. Moving from one successful Chicago team to another, the Bulls face the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday. Devin Booker's star power continues to grow in the desert as he dropped a season-high 33 points for the Suns, including 8 from the free throw line. Bulls guard Justin Holiday did his best to match Booker, putting in 25 of his own, while Chris Dunn chipped in with 24. The game was decided on the boards, however, as Phoenix nabbed 20 more rebounds, propelling them to a 104-99 victory. The Bulls are in Denver tonight to face the Nuggets. Let's try to end this on a happy note as the Hawks went to Nashville to take on the Predators. The Hawks came in winning 4 of their last 5, but found themselves down early after a nice drop pass led to a Philip Forsberg goal. Chicago tied it shortly after when Tommy Wingle scored off of a beautiful centering pass by Alex Dubrinket. But that would be as close as they got. Roman Josi put the game out of reach when he snuck a slap shot past Corey Crawford, giving Nashville a 3-1 lead. The Hawks fell 3-2 and look to rebound at 7:30 p.m. tonight against Dallas in the Madhouse. That will be it for NTC Sports. I am Austin Hanson, and as always, go Huskies. Let's send it back to the desk.
Local nonprofits took part in a national campaign this week called Giving Tuesday. Organizations revved up their efforts to raise donations. Tails Humane Society in DeKalb raked in more than $8,000 on the Giving Day. Many nonprofits are still recovering after the more than 2-year state budget impasse.
Many of our nonprofits that have traditionally relied on state funding for some of the work that they do, when that has been cut, or has been eliminated completely in some cases, they're even going to have to look more at diversity of giving.
There will also be a Giving DeKalb County initiative coming up in May. That's it for us. NTC News Tonight is produced and directed by students here at Northern Illinois University.
And now, in collaboration with WNIJ, we're going to leave you with Iverson singing Chosen Ones. It will air Thursday night at 7 on 89.5 FM and WNIJ.org. Have a great day, everyone.
You believe in me. That you can.